Hey everybody, it's Bob from Repxotica, and we're looking through all our YouTubes, and we noticed that the most popular one was how to set up a veiled chameleon. So to kind of top that or give you guys what you really want, obviously, we're going to do how to set up a Panther Chameleon. So that's going to be today's topic, and obviously these become more and more popular and more easily accessible to the general public. So we'll do that for you guys today, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Breeding, I've actually probably hatched, I don't know, maybe 3,000 to 4,000 Panther Chameleons in my life. So dating back to probably like 1989. So we've hatched quite a few of them. A lot of different locales and morphs and whatnot. And this little guy hatched right in the store. Panther Chameleons, obviously from Madagascar. They're a warm species, so when we're going to set up a cage, we're going to think about temperature right off the get-go. 85 during the day, 75 at night would be optimal for these guys. They do not like the cold. They don't like it cold at all. And they like it quite humid. So the higher you can get the humidity up, the better off. If you can hold humidities in the 60-70% range, you're going to be doing real well. That may be very challenging during the winter, but these guys also do see a dry period during in the wild Madagascar, where it does the humidity does go down quite a bit, and they do get dried out a bit. So not impossible, but certainly the winter for these guys up here in the Northeast is a little bit more challenging. Aside from temperature, lighting. Obviously, they need ultraviolet lighting, and they need a basking site. And the basking site should be around 90 degrees, so usually achieved with a dome. Some people use a combo hood or whatnot. Not a big deal as long as the animal can thermoregulate properly on one side of the cage. Caging for Panther Chameleons is a little interesting. Females do not need a big cage at all. Females don't get real big in general, and in general, again, these are generalizations, the females aren't that active, so they'll kind of get in a happy spot and kind of sit there for the most part and eat themselves silly. They're really good feeders. The males, on the other hand, get much larger. Some of them can be well over 20 inches. I've seen some real monsters out there. A lot of the captive born ones tend to be a little bit smaller, but they always have ants in their pants, and they're always moving around. They very rarely sit in one place for very long. Males, my theory is that they have a territory and they patrol it constantly. So you can't keep effectively, in my opinion, a male in a very small cage. So I would say a minimum size would be 2 feet wide by 2 or 3 feet tall by maybe 2 feet deep. So you need something along that lines, and anything bigger is better as long as you can keep the heat and humidity in it. So one of the golden rules we like to use with chameleons is bigger is better. We've literally seen nice specimens put into a small cage. After a period of time, depression sets in and the animal starts to demise. So bigger, more elaborate cages. Again, live plants seem to be, and don't ask me why, but it seems like a lot of chameleons can tell the difference between a live plant and a plastic plant, and they'll spend a lot of time living in that live plant. They like to drink off live plants. The thing too with the soil and whatnot, you get more of a humid effect in the tank, so the humidity's increased, which is a good thing. Natural plants, natural sticks, twigs, varying widths. Make sure Panther Chameleons too. Now, from a feeding and watering standpoint, very typical chameleon. A healthy animal generally has a real good appetite, and when you're raising a baby, you generally want to feed the animal every single day, as much as it can eat, to get it from its small state to an adult. Generally, most chameleons can reach sexual maturity within a year. Once they are 1 year old, I would kind of recommend to maybe a 3 or 4 day a week feeding, heavy feeding at that point. Definitely take some days off so that lethargy doesn't sit in with the animals. Animals that are overfed, obviously overfeeding puts too much weight on them, and that's not a good thing. And then B, it also makes them tends to get them very finicky. So that's not just of Panther Chameleons, it's of any chameleon. So vary the bugs as much as possible. Panther Chameleons, if it moves, they'll eat it. So try to vary the insect life around. We don't really feed ours pinkies or any of that kind of stuff, although I wouldn't doubt they would eat it, or other lizards and things like that. I'm sure they're opportunistic feeders in the wild, but you know, we feed them insects, but we try to vary from anywhere from silkworms to roaches to superworms to crickets, you know, and anything else. All right, so the lifespan on a Panther Chameleon, I think males, you could probably, you know, I think the average we see around here is 7 or 8 years. Females, if we are breeding them, will be shorter. I would say on an indoor environment, our average breeding females are probably not going much more 3-4 years. So there are exceptions to the rules, and there are also ones that go quicker. So breeding Panther Chameleons is pretty simple. Obviously, male and female, very easy to differentiate the two. Males, all crazy colors. Females going to be more of a peach. They need to be over a year old. Generally, the male can breed a little earlier than that. Females generally start breeding around 1 year old. Way to do it is simply they're kept separate, and every couple of weeks or so, once they become sexually mature, take the male out and hold them on your finger and let the female see them. If the female brightens and doesn't show any aggressive reaction, let the male go in there, and it should happen right away. You can also vice versa, take the female out. Either way pretty much works. If the animals are ready, it's instantaneous. 5 minutes, you'll have copulation. If they are not ready, if the female is going to dictate the whole scenario. If the female is not ready, she will gape, she will rock, she may turn black. Any of those signs, do not put the male in there. That's a big no-no. Put them back in this cage and wait till they are ready. It may take a couple of weeks, may take a couple of months, but sooner or later they'll be ready. Generally 30 days after breeding, you're going to get an egg laying. The female will stop eating. Female will be very lumpy looking. Generally we take them out and put them in an egg laying bucket or a pail, which is filled with damp soil, and they'll dig right down and make their nest. And after they're done, they'll bury it, cover it all up, and put the female back, rehydrate her, let her feed, and we dig up the eggs and put them in an incubator or a closet, whatnot. The eggs incubate generally in the 75-degree range, so depending on where you live and the climatic conditions, you don't necessarily need an incubator for them. So sometimes a night drop and a little bit of increase during the day is actually a good thing for the eggs. So the eggs are funny because they will incubate for quite a while, and we have hatched eggs as quick as 6 months, and we have hatched eggs that took 13 months to hatch. So anywhere between 6 and 13 months they can hatch, and basically 24 hours after hatching, the babies will start to feed on pinhead crickets and fruit flies. So again, feed those guys every day, coat those with calcium, ultraviolet light, same conditions as the adults, 85 during the day, 75 at night. We generally rear them in glass tanks till they get about I don't know, that 4-inch range, and then we transfer them to screen cages. So that's kind of the baby raising routine that we use here. Panther Chameleons, one of the most popular animals out there in the reptile trade right now. Almost every color imaginable. Generally have a good disposition. A lot of people start with veils, a great starter chameleon, but their attitude is generally on the dark side. So 75 to 80% of the ones that we hatch, panthers anyway, go on and are handleable every day. So a calm animal that is not stressed out over handling, so that makes them a wise choice. Plus, they're crazy colors and very easy to breed. So, great animal to have. Make sure that you have the room. Make sure that you just don't get enamored with one of these guys. Put it in a screen cage in the middle of your living room, and up in the Northeast, your living room in the winter is 62 degrees. That animal's not going to do too well. So, they need the special needs you need before purchasing to make sure that you're able to provide warm, humid areas for them, even during the winter. And that can be very challenging, and that's something that you need to think about before you purchase these guys. And they, growing them up with a lot of food, a lot of variety. So, we have people, I couldn't possibly bring a roach into my house. Well, if your animal won't eat anything else, that's a problem, and that's the kind of animals that they are. So make sure that you weigh all the pros and cons of these guys. If a lot of the things we talked about today aren't a problem, it's an awesome creature to have in your house. But if those constraints are a problem to you, it might be something you might be better off with a bearded dragon or something along those lines. All right, that's about it, guys. Questions, concerns? Shoot us a message or an email, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.